This is the Slow Wardrobe. Come and have a look. Hello, welcome to episode 120 of the Slow Wardrobe podcast. My name is Linda and I'm your host. In this episode, I'll give you an update on my knitting and crochet antics. Well, no crochet this time at all. Knitting antics is all that I've been involved in. I have missed a slot 2 weeks ago because I was taking one of my boys to move to the Netherlands, where he's going to do a master's degree in archaeology this coming year. The other one, his twin brother, is going up to Edinburgh. So lots of family stuff going on, and as a result, not enough time to try and wedge in an episode. So hence this episode having come out with an extra gap in the middle, so 4 weeks after the last episode. However, after my knitting antics, we are on to the next pre-order that I've got running at the moment of baggies in the mid-weight linen, and also step tops in any color you want of the mid-weight linen. So there are lots of color choices there. I'm going to give you some ideas and show you a couple of options of the step tops that I happen to have here, because it was a very last minute decision to add the step tops to this pre-order, and more about that later on in the episode. First, a bit more about what I am knitting. I am working on my own version of a jumper that Millie from ArtYarns kind of launched into the stratosphere in terms of popularity by coming up with the idea of taking a bunch of multicolored skeins of yarn. She's using, and I'm using as well, Merino Cloud ombre from ArtYarns, which is a merino with, I think it's got a small amount of cashmere in it. It's super soft. It's a 4-ply that almost knits up as a DK because it's so poofy a yarn. It's super soft and really nice and lofty to knit this pattern with. This is a pattern that is available as a complete sweater pattern on Ravelry called the MiZZoni. MiZZoni, of course, play on the name MiZZoni, the Italian designer who works with a lot of multicolored zigzags in his design and is very famous for these kind of multicolored knits as well. This is MiZZoni with double Z though, and the idea behind the sweater was to just use up lots of ends of yarn, lots of leftovers that you may have of 4-ply yarn, and then knit a jumper out of that. So that was the jumper pattern that Millie has used for her version. And the idea that she came up with is to have, in my case 5, but in her case 4 different colorways of the Merino Cloud ombre, and then wind those into little nuggets, little balls, so that you can see what different colors are in the little balls. So what you end up doing is doing like a little butterfly almost, instead of a compact ball, so that you can see all the colors that are inside it, and then combining them as you see fit whilst you're knitting. This is a jumper that is knitted from the bottom up in panels, and it's got like a classic jumper shape. I've already shown that in a previous episode, and I'm not into those kind of classic jumper shapes. They do nothing for me. I find them boring to wear. I always want something different. So what I embarked on is to just use the zigzag pattern, the zigzag stitch of the chevron stitch, if you like, which is just a box standard chevron stitch. If you don't know how to knit it, you can find it free online. So I'm using that chevron stitch, and I started doing my own design. I've got the front and back panels, which is as far as I got with this. I'm working on the first sleeve. I've got them pinned to one of the step tops that I'm showing later on in the episode as well, as part of the pre-order. just to show you, give you an idea without the jumper being finished of what the shape is that I'm working on. So what I've got here in the back is, first of all, it's very oversized. It's about 36 inches in width, 90 centimeters in width. And what I've done, you can see it a little bit here, where you see this yellow band getting much wider in the middle than it is on the sides. So I have, with a couple of the colorways here in the middle, I put in a bunch of short rows to make the back slightly longer. And then, so started knitting at the bottom, put in some short rows, and then kept going and did my own calculations to create a diagonal line to put in a raglan sleeve. So creating a diagonal line when you're knitting a zigzag is an interesting challenge, because of course that zigzag that you've got at the bottom, you've got at the top as well. And with short rows, you then have to fill up the gap, if you like, the gaps that you've got, but you're doing that along a diagonal line. So lots of calculation, lots of trial and error, and I was absolutely determined to keep the little eyelets that you get on either side of the chevrons going right to the top. I did not want to lose any of that pattern. And the other thing that I've done is I've put an edging of the same kind of eyelets along the edge of the raglan. I'm doing that with the sleeve as well. And because of all those little holes, that gives me a little bit of give in terms of movement to make up for any imperfections that I might or might not have in my cast off. But as you can see, I've just pressed this out to give you an idea of what the line looks like, and I'm very pleased with how that line is moving. Then I repeated the same at the front, but I did not put in any of the short rows. So the front is going to, hopefully you can see a little bit here like that. Back's going to be a little bit longer, not a lot. Front is going to be a little bit shorter. And then I've put in a V-neck, a whole new set, of course, of calculations to create a different cast off line. So I've got a V-neck, and then I'm going straight up, and these front and back panels don't meet here in the middle because I've got a raglan sleeve that will have some width left right at the top. There's about 5 inches of shoulder line left that will be filled with the sleeve. So I've started working on the sleeve, put her out here a little bit. This is the sleeve that I'm working on, sleeve number 1. And of course, with my little nuggets being all about the same size, they're all between like 6 and 10 grams in weight. When you then use the same size nuggets and you start knitting a sleeve, then of course each nugget will go further, so your stripes end up going wider. So I started doing that and then decided, actually I prefer if I keep the same kind of rhythm in terms of color changes that I had in the body, if I keep that on the sleeve as well. So what I've done here in this last section, I have started to divide all my nuggets into 2 halves, and therefore each nugget is only about half the size it was for the body, and my lines are starting to get closer together, and you don't really notice it that much yet because these are multicolored as well, of course. But as I go further up and as I start working on the raglan part of the sleeve, it'll, in terms of rhythm, it'll start following the pattern that I've got on my front and back a little bit more precisely. However, I don't mind that these beginnings are slightly different. It is, after all, the bit of the sleeve that's separate from the rest of the body. So if you imagine this to go here, I've got another 2 or so inches to go. So it'll be something like that. It'll be a long sleeve, full length sleeve, and then I start casting off again in a completely different sequence, completely different rhythm than I did on the body, because of course this is a very shallow diagonal line, whereas on the sleeve it'll be a very steep diagonal line. So I'm casting off a lot less stitches. I'm casting off much more slowly, and as a result I have to redo all the calculations and work out how these zigzag edges are going to be filled without losing any of my pattern stitches going up on the sleeve. However, I keep track of what I'm doing and I write it down so I can repeat it on the second sleeve. I've already had some requests from people saying, are you going to write this up as a pattern? And the answer is no. I have found that it takes me so much time to write a pattern. I then have to have it tech edited, then I need to have it test knitted, and it's a whole little industry and a profession, of course, in and of itself, as we well know. And I have decided a couple of years ago that rather than pushing my direction of my company into knitwear, knitting patterns and yarn, I have allowed Layercake to grow, and it's much more about sewn garment design and selling those sewn garments. So as a result, there's just not enough time left to do this, and there would be too many pitfalls to make sure that I do a really good job. And if I would do this regularly, of course I would have my team ready, I would have my favorite test knitters, etc. But I have never developed that, so I'm going to not burn my fingers on any of that. I hope that sharing my antics here will be an ongoing inspiration for you, but decision made, no more pattern writing. Unless I come up with something specifically for my linen yarns. If I come up with a shawl or an accessory or anything like that for the linen, and I think, oh, actually, that would be nice to share, then I will write a pattern again. But no promises, and definitely not something that I'll do regularly. And when I'm working in other yarns, then definitely no pattern. So I will keep you posted. My progress has been relatively slow since the last time I spoke to you about this, because in the 2 weeks that we were away in the Netherlands, there was very, very precious little knitting, virtually none, apart from in the car on the way there and on the way back. I stalled almost all my knitting and my crochet for 2 weeks. We were that busy, but we had a wonderful time, and son very happy with his new abode. He's moving there permanently in the next couple of weeks. We just moved all his stuff there and got him settled, but he's been back and forth a bit in between. And then in August, they'll probably both end up finding their way to their new abode, one in Edinburgh, like I said, and the other one in Delft in the Netherlands. And we'll move into very different waters on the home front, where it'll just be my pal and me at home, my husband and me at home, and all kids out and about again, finding their own way in life. So that's about it for where I've been at in the last 4 weeks. Full steam ahead though now on both the knitting, and I will probably once I've finished this jumper, pick up the crochet again. I'm very keen to keep going with this, because I'm, in the zone when it comes to doing the calculations for those diagonal lines. So I'll keep going with that, and then back onto crochet, which is still beckoning me. I'm still keen to get back into that as well, but there's only so much time in a day, obviously, and I've got another son to move up to Edinburgh in the next couple of weeks, so it's still fairly hectic. But as far as the studio is concerned, and as far as Layercake is concerned, we are knee deep in new designs for the autumn. And at the moment, of course, a pre-order for your beloved Step Tops and linen baggies. So I hope you'll enjoy those. Any questions, let me know. And For now, enjoy the Layercake section. Starting off with a magpie set that I was wearing in the newsletter as well last week. This is a pair of baggies in magpie. Magpie, of course, being a dark blue and black cross weave, so a very dark inky blue. And with it, I'm wearing a step top in the smaller size. As you can see, it's only just below my waistline because I'm taller and bigger as well, of course. Also in the magpie. And because they are oversized, then at least still with my size, it's still nice and oversized, but not a big oversized piece, as I will show you when I'm wearing the large. So a really, really nice summery outfit. Of course, nice and airy, just wearing underwear beneath this and really wearing the step top as a tunic, as it were, not to be taken off during the day. But of course, it's very easy to add a vest top, for example, underneath, which I'll show you in a minute. And wear the step top as a piece that you can take off when you get warmer, or rather put on when you get cooler, when it gets colder. And of course you can use a step top because of that oversized shape also as an extra layer when you're wearing a lot more bulky stuff in autumn and winter time, or early spring, for example. But as part of this summer pre-order, of course, I'm going to show it a little bit more with more summery outfits. Now, before I start changing and showing you lots of combinations, I always forget to point out what the mannequins are wearing, and I always get questions about that. So I'll do that ahead of everything else this time. So the mannequin closest to me is wearing a pair of breeches in royalty color, which is a cross weave, of course, of purple and teal. You'll see royalty coming back in a pair of baggies that are part of this pre-order as well later on this episode. And with that is shown a cerise colored medium length duster with ties, with sleeves and ties. So that's the first one. The next one is a gather dress in a size 1 regular length in chartreuse, and right at the end is a cap suit in the nightshade stripe colorway. So I hope that answers your questions ahead of time. And now I'm going to show the same outfit, but with one of the vest tops in between, to show you the effect of having a layer that's slightly longer underneath and peeping out in between the two blues. The cocoon vest top in damson, in between the magpie step top and baggies. Bit of an unsung hero, the vest top. I always forget to highlight it. It's got that same kind of sloping hemline that is so typical of a lot of layer cakes. It makes for a very nice silhouette, and it's an A-line. I will actually take this off so you can see it a little bit better. I'm wearing a size 1, which I can just about get away with still. So it's kind of fitted at the top round the bust, but then because of that A-line, it ends up being very forgiving further down, and a lovely sleeveless top for summertime, for warmer temperatures, or to layer underneath a top like this. Of course, I was already indicating it. It's got a higher armhole so that you don't have to wear anything underneath, and a really, really versatile top in all seasons, because of course now I'm wearing it with a step top, but you can wear it with a love top, of course, over the top, or one of the jackets. So there are lots of different options, and it's long especially so that you can layer it with the different layers showing a little bit. I'm going to change this now for a love tunic, a linen love tunic, just to show you another option of wearing something in between when it gets cooler, and at this time, of course, with sleeves. So here it comes. Here is a love tunic in a size 1 as well, so very similar length to the vest top that I was just wearing, and with that same sweep, but of course in this case with sleeves. Worn in the did I already say blue stripe? Anyway, the blue stripe linen, which I still have some fabric, so if you are taken with the love tunic in the blue stripe, they're still available to order. And I will now throw that step top back over the top so that you can see the effect of a longer linen top, but in this case with sleeves. As you can see, they're just popping out at the end. So small step top, size 1 love tunic. Let's move on. Choosing some contrast here with still the magpie baggies, but now worn with the turmeric love top from the Cocoon range. Size 1 again, of course slightly more roomy with that dolman sleeve, just like the linen love tunic was, and that mustardy color, of course a glorious contrast against the magpie. So let's move on. It's not all about magpie. Let me introduce the second color of the baggies that I'm featuring with this particular pre-order. Baggies in the regular length in Mixed Spice. Mixed Spice, a color that I've brought back this year in the medium weight linen. Had it a couple of years ago in the heavier weight, but in the medium weight this time is a cross weave of this beautiful kind of mustardy tobacco brownie color, and then cross woven with the blue of magpie. So that magpie step top would look great with this outfit, but I don't want to keep going back to magpie. I just wanted to show you that Mixed Spice and the turmeric of the Cocoon range are a lovely combination together because of course they pick up on each other. But I'm going to take this pair of baggies in a lighter direction and go more towards the neutrals. Let's see what that looks like. Showing you here the grey vest top, same size, size 1, and as you can see, when you go into this direction with colors, then of course the Mixed Spice comes across as quite a muted neutral color rather than literally spicing it up with brighter colors. And I think as such, it's a very versatile color to add to your wardrobe because you can take it in so many different directions. It's not just really in your face bright, but it can be made to look a bit brighter depending on what you combine it with. For example, that turmeric love top that I had on just before. So what I'm grabbing here now and throwing over the top is the long length, the large size, I mean, of the step top. And as you can see, you immediately see the difference in length, whereas with the medium length, you saw a fair amount of the vest top sticking out underneath, whereas with the large size, you lose a lot more of the vest top underneath. Although you can still see a bit sticking out, you still have a color peeping out, and of course, depending on how much contrast you give that color, it'll show either more or less. And of course, both the front and the back are longer, and the sleeves are a bit longer on me as well, because of course the whole thing is a lot wider. This is the kind of sizing that it was originally intended for, but I then discovered subsequently that actually the smaller size, which is meant to be worn by smaller frames, actually works well on up to a size UK 20, I would say. You just get a different silhouette. So the choice is yours, depending on how you would prefer to wear your clothes. As you know, I like everything big and baggy, but I'm not the only opinion out there, obviously, and therefore I try to give all Layercakes a bit of a range in terms of sizing and options as to how you like to wear it, both in length as well as width. So moving on from here. I'm back again in a small size step top. So again, you immediately can see between the natural colored linen one that I had on just now, and this is the sweet pea, that very soft, slight mauvey kind of pale blue color, which again looks gorgeous with the rest of the outfit. Like I always say, you can almost pick blind and throw an outfit together and it'll look nicely put together and well coordinated. So showing you the difference in size, but also showing you a color combination that you may not think of when you see it hanging in your wardrobe. Sweet pea and mixed spice look great together, either with or without that neutral in between. So one of the things that I've got that sweet pea on for is to make a nice little bridge to the next color of baggies that I want to show you. Here is Rivulet. Rivulet was one of the really popular colors last summer for the summer play suit pre-orders that I had running, but I do have a bit of fabric left, so I thought what better time to bring it back as this summer, and in the shape of a pair of baggies. These are, again, the medium, the regular length, so therefore cropped on me. Great for summer, of course, and a wonderful combination with sweet pea. Of course, they've got a color in common. That pale duck egg blue in sweet pea is the same pale duck egg blue in Rivulet, but rather than cross weaving it with this soft mauve, it is cross woven with the blue of Magpie. So Rivulet, a wonderful combination with Magpie. So either go for a very light and neutral combination like this, or bring the Magpie back as a step top, or go the other way around. Of course, you could go Magpie trousers and then a Rivulet step top, because of course the step tops and in this pre-order can come in any of the colors of the medium weight linen that are available, and of course Rivulet is one of them. I think there's more than 30 colors to choose from. If you get overwhelmed and you think I can't possibly choose, then hopefully this episode will give you a bit of a guideline. But again, if in doubt, drop me an email and I can send you swatches, or I can show you color combinations online if it's too late to send swatches out, which I may well anticipate, because of course this pre-order of the step tops and or the baggies finishes this coming Monday, which is, let me make sure that I quote the right date, the 22nd of July. At the end of Monday, the 22nd of July, we're closing that pre-order, so that by the end of the first week of August, everything will be finished and produced, and I thought it starts with a P. Produced and on its way to you. But as per usual, I will ship everything out as it literally comes hot off the press. So it's by the end of the first week of August latest that it will go out to you, and making sure that you still get to wear it when the sun shines. So let me move on by adding a bright color, because like the others, of course, neutral tones things down. But just as with the other colors, Rivulet can also be boosted by picking up on one of the brighter colors. Let me show you. Here is the Rivulet pair of baggies with the teal love top from the Cocoon range. And of course, teal much stronger and much more vibrant than the greeny bluey colors in the Rivulet baggies. But they get picked up, of course, by the teal and augmented and end up looking brighter without being too dominant. So before I move on to the next color, there's one other color, like swinging to the other end of the spectrum, that I would like to show you in combination with the tealiness that is in Rivulet, and it is Nightshade. Nightshade is of course one of the colors that is available as a step top. But since the idea of adding step tops to this particular pre-order was a bit of a last minute decision. We didn't have any time to make any more step tops. I'm throwing the step tops at you that I just happen to have. But of course the choice is much bigger. So in absence of a step top, I will put on a smock in a nightshade just to show you how lovely a combination that is with Rivulet. Rivulet and nightshade. Aren't they glorious together? And I haven't done any clever tricks in terms of my smock growing sleeves all of a sudden. What I've done is I've put the cap top, the short, so not the tunic, but the cap top in nightshade, which I happen to have as well, underneath my smock. It is a very useful, I would say, shortcut to turn your smock into a summertime top without having to wear anything else underneath. It just looks very integrated because of course they're both the same color, and of course you could go for a contrast and go for a different cap top or cap tunic underneath, but by going for the same color it just looks like you've got one top on and the pair of trousers in a contrasting color. So moving on, next outfit, and this is Royalty baggies in the long length again, so you can see the difference with the crop length that I was just wearing, and then with the nightshade smock, which picks up on the purple that is in Royalty. I think it might be, I don't know how easy it is to see. When I'm looking down on nightshade or on Royalty, it is very clear that the purple in nightshade is in Royalty as well, and then blended with that glorious rich teal color. But I know that Royalty from a distance looks more blue rather than green and purple. So I'm going to show you the difference between Royalty and Magpie, which is a dark blue-black, by throwing on the step top that I was wearing right at the beginning. So you can see the difference in color, especially from a distance. And here it is. Royalty and Magpie worn together, so you can clearly see Magpie is a darker color, and even though they both look bluish, Royalty really isn't blue. I'll walk closer to the camera to see if that will work. If not, I'll cut it out, but I'll walk closer and hopefully you can see the comparison of Royalty and Magpie a little bit more clearly with the light shining on it. All right, moving back again. If that didn't work, I will have blurred it out or cut it out completely. Let me show you Royalty with some teal. So hopefully I can boost the teal in it a little bit with that teal love top, that cocoon love top that I had on before. Try that again. And here it is. Teal from the Cocoon range, the teal love top worn together with the beautiful purple teal that is Royalty. And again, I can promise you, looking down, I can see the exact same teal color in Royalty as the love top. So again, I apologize if this doesn't come across very clearly on screen. I'm going to move on. There's one other color that I want to show you against Royalty, and that is another one of our very popular colors called Blackcurrant. Here it comes. Blackcurrant step top in the large size, worn super funky with the Royalty baggies. Another really nice color combination that, I don't know, Royalty is just the most difficult color to show on video because more than any of the others, the colors blend so strongly that they just make a completely different color, and it's difficult to highlight the separate ones on screen. But in real life, the purple that is in Blackcurrant, of course, is the same purple that is in Royalty, and again, I can see it when I look down, I promise you. I think I need to move on to the last of the 5 colors offered in the baggy pre-order this time, which of course is one of my all-time favorites, magenta. Magenta baggies in the regular length, worn with the large step top in blackcurrant. And I think baggies or any of our trousers in a color like magenta are a really nice alternative if you don't feel that confident wearing a color like magenta all over and you think that it's just too bright, or it's a color that doesn't work quite right next to your face. Then consider it for an outfit that just covers the bottom half, and then you can go for lighter colors or softer colors, or dark in this case, up top, and then still maybe bring it back with a little piece of jewelry or a shawl or a hairband or even just a lipstick that will bring the magenta back if you want to see it somewhere else in your outfit. But of course, going dark is not the only option, so I will once more put the sweet pea love top on, the small sweet pea love top, because of course that's a lighter color, and because that's got that mauviness in it, it's also a really nice neutral to wear right next to magenta. Here it comes. Sweet pea and magenta, a way to tone down the brightness of the magenta and bring a light and cooler, calmer color in if you are that way inclined. So I'm pretty much done, I think. Of course, there are lots of combinations to show you with magenta. The cerise that I've got next to me, the blood orange is a lovely bright, but I don't have a lot of step tops to show you, and I don't want to go into many other garments in the range. I really want to try and restrict as much as possible to the garments that are on pre-order this time, because I'm showing so many combinations in so many episodes already, and of course always run the risk of just repeating myself again and again. One more thing that I am going to show you. I started with an outfit that was all in one color in the magpie baggies and step top, and I'll do the same with magenta at the end. Here we go. Head to toe magenta. Of course, I'm in my element. Just to show you how in a very bright color, a combination like this can work really well too in the regular length baggies and the small step top. So any questions, shoot me a message. I'll look out for your messages throughout this weekend as well as Monday. And don't forget, Monday evening, at the end of the day, British summertime, midnight on the 22nd. So at the end of Monday, not the start of Monday, this pre-order closes. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.